Good morning, America. Breaking new details about that concert terror attack. The new arrest this morning as the UK raises its threat level to critical, concerned another attack may be imminent. And what we're now learning about the suspect. Reports he has proven links to ISIS and may have traveled to Syria. Police blowing down the door of his home. What they discovered inside and the new clues about the sophisticated bomb could it point to a bigger plot.
Also breaking overnight, the president and the Pope. Trump meets Francis for the first time this morning. The gifts they exchanged, what they said, as the president and first lady visit the Sistine Chapel. Well, back here at home, the former CIA director testifies on Capitol Hill, his concerns about contacts between the Trump campaign and Russia.
And ABC News exclusive, Billy Bush speaking out about that infamous tape with President Trump.
I think I sacrificed my own dignity in that moment.
What his wife said, why he's breaking his silence now.
Have you had any conversations with Donald Trump since the release of the tape?
One-on-one with Robin, only on GMA this morning.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
All present and accounted for. Good morning, America. The president continuing his trip abroad, meeting with Pope Francis just hours ago. We will have more on that just ahead.
Across Europe, Britain reeling from that terror attack in Manchester on the highest state of alert. Here is what we know this morning. There were 3 new arrests overnight in connection with the attack. Investigators are digging into the bomber's travels and ties to ISIS. The victim count has gone up. 119 people were injured, and we have new details about the 22 people who lost their lives. And Prime Minister Theresa May warns that another attack may be imminent, so military are in the streets and at Buckingham Palace, the threat level critical.
And around the world, so many are showing their solidarity with Manchester, the Eiffel Tower going dark at midnight, along with the Colosseum in Rome and the Empire State Building right here in New York.
Amy Robach is standing by live in Manchester. She'll have more on what we're learning about the attack, more on the victims and the heroes. But first, let's go to our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross, for breaking new details about the bomber. Good morning, Brian.
Well, good morning, Robin. Senior British officials this morning are saying Salman Abedi likely did not act alone, with French officials adding the bomber had proven links to ISIS and had traveled recently to Syria. London newspapers have now published photos of the man they say was the bomber, 22-year-old Salman Abedi, born in Britain to parents from Libya. In the frantic search to see if others were involved with him, police blew open the door of his Manchester home, looking for evidence of any kind, including his phone and computer. Among the items removed, a book entitled Know Your Chemicals. Authorities also want to know if Abedi used videos posted by ISIS this year with instructions on how to build a lethal suicide bomb. There is an active ISIS presence in Libya, and U.S. authorities believe Abedi may have traveled there 2 years ago at a time he dropped out of college. At one point, Abedi was on the radar of British intelligence as a possible terror threat, one of thousands of young men under suspicion.
Every day, MI5 is having to make a call on who are the most dangerous, who is it that they fear are going to be operational terrorists looking to carry out attacks. And of course, they're not going to get it right every time.
The Manchester neighborhood where Abedi lived, around an area called Moss Side, just a few miles from the concert arena, is considered by police to be a hotbed of ISIS recruitment.
Moss Side is very well known. A lot of people with petty criminal pasts, involvement in gangs, getting involved instead with ISIS later on.
Manchester police have actually been planning for a terrorist attack. This training exercise was held just last year at a Manchester shopping mall to help police prepare their response to a suicide bombing on a crowded, soft target. Key details could come today about the nature of the plot based on what analysts discover about the bomb and how it was built. Did the terrorist mean to blow himself up, or did it happen accidentally? It's also unclear how many died from the blast itself or were killed in the panic caused by the terrorist bomb. George.
Okay, Brian, thanks very much. Our chief foreign correspondent, Terry Moran, is on the scene in Manchester. And Terry, we're seeing those scenes there of how the attack unfolded. You have new details.
That's right, George. With Britain's terror alert now at its highest level in more than a decade, that means up to 5,000 military troops will be deployed at key sites and on streets across the country, including at Buckingham Palace, where today they canceled the changing of the guard, that iconic London tourist event. All this while police continue to unravel the plot. 3 new arrests directly linked to the attack here at the Manchester Arena. This morning, the UK's terror level is at its highest, critical.
Their assessment is not only that an attack remains highly likely, but that a further attack may be imminent.
As investigators search for possible accomplices of the now identified killer. Across Britain, up to 5,000 armed troops could be deployed on the country's streets, helping police keep watch in public places and at major sites like Buckingham Palace.
People are likely to see some military on the streets. It's all about making sure that we keep people's streets safe.
And we are learning more this morning about what happened in those moments after Ariana Grande left the stage.
Oh my God. What just happened? Young people like shouting, "Where's my mummy?" Like, I can't find my mum.
Authorities believe the killer detonated his suicide bomb here, this area connecting the Manchester Arena and the nearby train station. Tuesday, moments of silence across the world. And in the aftermath of this attack, so many are relieved.
In the back of your mind, you're thinking the worst.
And then you saw her.
Oh, just huge relief. Huge relief. Huge relief. It was almost like she'd been born again.
And there are still many parents and families hoping against hope to see their still missing loved ones as authorities slowly confirm the identities of the dead. Emotions are running very high here. There's an election here in 2 weeks, and voters are demanding answers. Robin?
I bet they are. Okay, Terry. And as we've been saying, the attack targeted children, and one of the victims as young as 8 years old. Let's go to Amy for more on what we're learning about their stories and the heroes who helped us, so many. She's there in Manchester for again this morning. Good morning, Amy.
Yeah, Robin, and that 8-year-old, Safi Roussos, is on literally every cover of every magazine here in the UK, every newspaper. You see her face, along with the faces of the others who lost their lives. All the victims, so young. And as you might imagine, the outpouring from this community has been incredible. In fact, just behind me, this is just one of many memorials that have popped up all over this city.
This morning, we're learning about the victims of that deadly explosion. Among the 22 lost, 18-year-old Georgina Callender and 8-year-old Safi Roussos. Safi, believed to be the youngest victim, was at the concert with her mother and sister, her school teacher remembering her fondly, saying Safi was simply a beautiful little girl in every aspect of the word. She was loved by everyone. Georgina, an Ariana superfan who tweeted about her excitement on the way to Monday's concert, once met her hero sharing this photo 2 years ago, writing on Instagram, "She was so cute and lovely. I hugged her so tight. I can't get over this. I never will." The mother of a third victim, 15-year-old Olivia Campbell, confirming her daughter's death on Facebook, saying, "R.I.P. my darling, precious, gorgeous girl, taken far, far too soon. Mummy loves you so much." And Paula Robinson, hailed as the Angel of Manchester. She brought dozens of young girls to safety at a nearby hotel, sharing her number on Facebook to connect parents with their children. Lizzie Murtaugh gave her daughter Olivia a ticket to the concert for Christmas.
I was so excited. It's going to be like the best night of my life. Oh my God.
As they left the show, the bomb exploded in the foyer.
It was the biggest bang, biggest explosion I've ever heard. It was like a big white flash.
Shrapnel ripped through their clothes and bodies.
My legs, like a hole where the shrapnels hit.
I felt it straight away because my back was so sore, like a hole in my back.
A few seconds before, and we wouldn't have been here.
Lizzie told me she had tickets to go to another concert at Manchester Arena this Friday. It's been canceled, but she said even if it hadn't, she still wouldn't have gone. In fact, Lizzie says she doesn't think she will ever be able to go back there or feel safe in large crowds again, which is completely understandable for all of those tens of thousands of people who were in the arena that night when the unthinkable happened, guys.
Certainly, that's understandable. What else are you seeing, the response from the community there, Amy?
We are here in the center of Manchester at Albert Square, the town hall right behind me, and there are memorials popping up all throughout this city. The one behind me is just one of several, and it's beautiful, filled with flowers and teddy bears and candles. And we see people coming up here paying their respects, laying down more flowers. We even just saw a woman sobbing, looking at just the loss of innocence here in this community. But last night at 6 p.m., they had a beautiful vigil honoring all of the victims who had fallen. And there were so many signs for peace and solidarity. And I loved several of the signs said, "Love for all, hate for none." And I think that's what the sentiment here is in Manchester, and they are truly united, just like their football team.
Yeah, we can feel that back here at home. All right, Amy, we'll check back with you later.
All right, and take a look at this, you guys. This is Ariana Grande returning home to Florida on Tuesday. The 23-year-old singer flew back with her mother, Joan, and it turned out her mom is also being called a hero. She was at the show, reportedly helped rush as many as 10 young fans backstage to safety after the blast went off at her daughter's concert. And Ariana is scheduled to perform in London tomorrow, but as of right now, the future of her Dangerous Woman tour is still unclear. And she says she's broken from the bottom of her heart about the incident, and that message has been retweeted more than 1 million times. This is something that's felt truly around the world.
And you can imagine it takes some time to process this all. We are going to move on now to the morning's other top headlines. Just hours ago, as we said, President Trump met with Pope Francis at the Vatican, toured St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel with the First Lady. And after a meeting with the Italian Prime Minister, it's on to Brussels for a summit with other European leaders. And back home, new developments in the Russia investigation. We are now learning that President Trump is expected to hire a private legal team to deal with the special counsel and Congress. We'll have more on that in a moment. First, let's go to Rome, where senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega has more on the Pope and the President. Good morning, Cecilia.
Hi, George. Good morning from Rome. As you know, these are two leaders who don't see eye to eye on a number of issues. They had that very public feud during the campaign over immigration. But today, that first face-to-face right here at the Vatican, and they both seem to genuinely get along.
Welcome to the Vatican.
President Trump at the Vatican this morning, a ceremonial arrival complete with the red carpet and Swiss guards. His first meeting with Pope Francis, First Lady Melania wearing a veil here too. A slow procession to meet the Holy Father, President Trump seeming to take it all in.
Because he will come out in honor of you.
The president's entourage, including daughter Ivanka and son-in-law Jared, waiting outside as the president entered the Pope's private library. A handshake between the two world leaders before they got down to business. The meeting lasting about 30 minutes. At times, the president beaming alongside a very serious Pope. This face-to-face comes after their very public feud last year. The Pope called building a border wall unchristian. Then candidate Trump took him on.
For a religious leader to question a person's faith is disgraceful.
But today, the two sides hoping to find common ground, even on areas of disagreement, like the environment. The Pope gifting the president with a book of his writings on the subject, also a medal, a symbol of peace. The entire White House delegation invited in to meet him. The First Lady asking the Pope to bless a rosary. Ivanka Trump said she was humbled. And the two men who so publicly clashed, today ending their meeting in a handshake. Yeah, so there were no cameras inside for the meeting between the president and the Pope, but we are hearing a little bit about what they discussed. They talked about the situation in the Middle East. They talked about the protection of Christian communities around the world. A number of international affairs issue talked about here today. Later today, Robin, President Trump heads to Brussels, where he has that meeting on NATO.
All important. All right there, Cecilia. Thank you. More now, though, on the Russia investigation. Former CIA Director John Brennan testifying on Capitol Hill, saying he was troubled by contact between Trump campaign associates and the Russians. This as President Trump is expected to hire a private attorney. Our congressional correspondent Mary Bruce has those details for us. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Robin. Well, despite his repeated claims that he is not under investigation, the president is now expected to hire a private attorney to represent him in the special counsel's investigation. It comes as the former CIA director says definitively he knew during the campaign that there were interactions between the Russians and the Trump team, and that he told the Russians to back off.
It should be clear to everyone that Russia brazenly interfered.
Blunt talk on Capitol Hill Tuesday, former CIA Director John Brennan. For the first time, Brennan revealing that during the presidential campaign, he confronted his Russian counterpart about their meddling in the U.S. election.
I told Mr. Bortnikov that if Russia had such a campaign underway, it would be certain to backfire.
Brennan making a bold statement saying he was so concerned about potential ties between the Trump team and the Russians, he felt the FBI should investigate.
It raised questions in my mind, again, whether or not the Russians were able to gain the cooperation of those individuals.
He stopped short of calling it collusion, and the White House took notice. In a statement, the administration stressing that despite a year of investigation, there is still no evidence of any Russia-Trump campaign collusion. But that is still under investigation, and now the Washington Post reports President Trump asked 2 of his top intelligence officials to publicly deny any coordination between his campaign and the Russians.
We are in a phase where there's a new revelation every 2 or 3 days.
On the Hill Tuesday, one of those officials, the director of national intelligence, would neither confirm nor deny.
It's not appropriate for me to comment publicly on any of that.
Now, in response, the White House continues to point out that so far no one has presented any evidence of collusion, and they still insist that the real story here are the leaks coming from the White House. George.
Okay, Mary, thanks. Let's get more on that from our chief White House correspondent, John Karl. And John, actually a lot of news in Director Brennan's testimony yesterday. We basically learned why the FBI investigation got started, his concern about these contacts, the White House choosing to emphasize other parts of his testimony.
Yeah, although it was striking, George, to hear him give that testimony and use the word treasonous to describe the underlying allegation here. He said that it's even possible that it could have been unwittingly treasonous if there had been Americans tied with the campaign colluding with the Russians. In other words, that they may not have known that they were dealing with Russian operatives. But what the White House is focusing on is that even John Brennan, who has a clear political interest here, clearly tied to Democrats, you know, one of Barack Obama's top advisors even back in his campaign, even John Brennan says that he has seen no evidence, no hard evidence of any collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians.
That's what they're focusing on right now, but it's also settling in on the White House that they're going to have to be in for the long haul here. The special counsel is going to do his work. Congress is going to do its work, and a lot of these things that they're now blaming on leaks are going to become public.
Absolutely, George. And you see the president is now retaining outside counsel. He soon will have his own outside law firm to deal with this. Inside the West Wing, senior staff have been notified, warned that anything can be subpoenaed. Even their text messages could end up being subpoenaed. It's only a matter of time before you see that senior staff also needing to lawyer up big legal bills. This is something that is dawning on the White House. They realize that this investigation is here for the long haul, and it's going to affect all of them.
Okay, John Karl, thanks very much. And boy, that is something I've seen up close. Once those investigations start in the White House, it has a real chilling effect on all the work, and that's why the president, I think, is trying to hire an outside counsel to try to contain it as best he can.
And you know that, right?
All right, thank you, guys. And now let's go to Rob Marciano with a severe weather threat across the Southeast. 38 million people are in its path. And Rob, there were 11 reported tornadoes on Tuesday.
That's right, Michael, across 3 states. This is one of them, Wilmington Island, Georgia, and then it went over to Tybee Island, just east of Savannah. This one not doing a whole lot of damage, but Autryville, North Carolina, look at all this damage from one of those tornadoes. Also straight line winds in Sealy, Texas, just west of Houston, 81 miles an hour there, shutting down I-10 for a time. Tornado watch out already this morning from Panama City to Tallahassee, includes Gainesville, Jacksonville, and Daytona Beach, highly populated area right through the middle part of the afternoon. So a pretty dangerous situation here that we'll be keeping an eye on as this front pushes off to the east. But look at the expansive severe weather threat today from Fort Myers all the way up towards the Virginia border. And this thing will spin rain up towards the northeast. It looks like through tomorrow's a messy day for much of New England. Speaking of rain, time for your rainy cities, brought to you by Nutro.
Nutro, all the energy dogs need and nothing they don't. Nutro, feed clean.
Showers continue to move through the D.C. area this morning, so do keep the umbrella on hand, but these showers will begin to taper off. Mostly cloudy skies through the remainder of today and also some patchy fog. Notice those daytime highs getting into the mid to upper 60s, and the cloud cover will linger. Now, as we gear up for Memorial Day, any of those plans coming up, Saturday looks like your best chance to head outdoors with a high of 80 and sunshine. Best chance for some gusty thunderstorms coming up on Sunday.